Hey guys, I'm Ashley, and in my video today I'm going to be doing a tag video, one that I was actually tagged for this time, and it is the I Dare You book tag, and I was tagged by Kristen from Kristens Library. I will leave a link to her channel down below because she is awesome and she's my new favorite and you should watch all of her videos immediately. Thank you so much for the tag, Kristen, and I'm going to go ahead and get right into it because there's a series of 19 questions that I'm apparently supposed to answer as honestly as possible, but that's a lot of questions, so I'm just going to go right into it without any further ado. Question 1 is, what book has been on your shelf the longest? For me, this is this copy of Anne of Green Gables, which I have had, as you can see by the really old bookmark and the really gross pages, I've had since I was, oh god, like 10. So I've had it for like 16 years altogether, this exact copy of it, and it's been through the ringer. I've taken it many places, I've reread this exact version many times, which is why it's got all the damage on it, but I love it. I love this version. I love the movie tie-in because the movie is amazing and wonderful to me. So definitely this one has been on the shelf the longest. Question 2, what is your current, last, and next read? So my current read is The Trials of Apollo Book 2, The Dark Prophecy by Rick Riordan. This is one that just came out, I think, about a week ago, and I started reading it immediately. I'm only a little bit into it just because I've had so many other things going on, but I'm really freaking enjoying it so much, and I can't wait to finish this video and start reading again. My last read was Mafiosa, which is the third and final book in the Blood for Blood series by Catherine Doyle, which left me emotional as all hell, and I have a lot of feelings about this, so I'll probably be talking about this series in a video very soon, but I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And my next read is actually going to be an audiobook, and it's The Girl Interrupted, which is the current pick for my book club in real life, and we have to read it in about 2 weeks, so I definitely need to get on that and read it next. Number 3, what book did everyone else like that you hated? If you watched any of my other videos in the past, you know that this answer is going to be Anna and the French Kiss. I do not like this book. I have a lot of reasons I don't like it. If you're interested in knowing why, I will leave a link to one of the videos where I talk about why up here at the top of the video, as well as down below in the description box. Number 4, what book do you keep telling yourself that you're going to read, but you probably won't? Probably the rest of the Outlander series, if I'm being honest. I read the first one like, 6 years ago, and I really did like it, but it was just so hard to get into, and now I'm watching the TV show, and I love it so much that I cannot imagine liking the book better, so I probably, whilst I say I'm going to read those books, probably actually won't do it, unfortunately, but like, honestly, I'm okay with that. Next question, number 5, is what book are you saving for retirement? For this one, it was kind of hard to pick one, but I'd have to say War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. I've already read Anna Karenina, and it's a beautiful, great book, and I have a feeling War and Peace will probably also be great, but it's just such a book. Like, there is so much book in that book. I don't want to read it right now, and it's an old classic, so I feel like when I'm old and retired and have an appreciation of literature and only really want to read the greats and have a lot of time on my hands to read something thick, I'll probably pick up War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Question 6, last page. Read it first or wait until the end? Honestly, I want to tell you that I always wait until the end of the book, and I've actually read the whole book and gotten to the last page, but I don't always do that because 2 reasons. 1, if I'm not liking the book, I will read the last page and see if it ends up somewhere that I like, to see if it's even worth investing my time in reading. 2, sometimes I'll read the last page if I'm like having an emotional breakdown over the book and really need to know that like I'm gonna be okay and not super emotionally scarred. So sometimes I'll read the last page for that. But for the most part, like, I highly recommend obviously waiting until the last page until you get there for real. And I'd like to tell you that I do that all the time, but I don't. Question 7, acknowledgements. Waste of paper and ink or interesting? Definitely always interesting. 1, because it's so sweet and I love to see the sweetness of the dedication or acknowledgements that other people have given. Also, sometimes they can be really hilarious. A lot of times authors will put their sense of humor into their acknowledgements and say really funny or like sarcastic or sweet things to the people they're acknowledging, so I definitely do not think that they're a waste of ink and paper. Question number 8, which book character would you switch places with? Annabeth Chase, for sure, from the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, as well as the Heroes of Olympus series, because 1, Percy Jackson would be my boyfriend, and that would be amazing. 2, she is a super strong, super intelligent, super wise and wonderful character who's the daughter of Athena, so yeah, I want all that. And 3, she's like a really cool demigod character just in herself. I just would like to be her. I would like to have her personality traits and her life, even though a lot of times her life is in peril and she's going on super like dangerous adventures. I still think that would be pretty cool, you know, to have the power she has and have my baby Percy Jackson. So yeah. Question 9. Do you have a book that reminds you of something specific in life, be it a person or a place or a time period in your life? I do. For me, this would be Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This is a bind-up of her books, including Jo's Boys, Little Women, and her short stories, and it's a beautiful edition of it. It's got gold end pages and things like that. And I just think of my mom anytime I think of Little Women. This is one of her favorite books of all time. She has got quite a few copies of it on her own, and so I think of her when I think of this book. We used to watch the movie a lot together when I was a kid, so I have a lot of really fond memories of my mom specifically thinking of this book. And if you're watching, Mom, hi. Question 10. Name a book that you acquired in an interesting way. So I guess for this one, I'm going to talk about The Hunger Games. This I got as an extra from Borders when I used to work at Borders. Store 692, holla. And this was an extra copy. We had acquired a whole bunch of this paperback version of it as giveaways for a event that we did at the store itself that I hosted and participated in and planned. And we had a whole bunch of giveaway copies, and this was an extra one. And this was in like 2000, I want to say 9 or 10 when I first started working at Borders, and I got this copy of it when the Hunger Games was first coming out. So that was pretty cool to be able to get my own little extra copy of it from the store, and it was free, and it was sent specifically to our store for giveaway purposes. Question 11. Have you ever given a book away for a special reason to a special person? And the one I can think of the most is my copy of Atonement that I read in college a couple times. I had analyzed it and annotated it for college because I did quite a few essays on that book, Atonement. It's one of my favorite books of all time. And when my friend Gabby graduated from high school and was going to school in Washington, I gave her my copy of Atonement that I had written in so much in college because she was about to start college. And so she's a huge book lover and bibliophile like I am, and I wanted to give her something that was both like meaningful but also from me specifically, so I gave her my copy of Atonement that I had annotated. Question 12. Which book has been with you the most places? For me, this is The Second Summer of the Sisterhood by Anne Brashares. This is the second novel of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series. And I have taken this book everywhere. It is so gross. Pages fall out of it when I flip this book open, so I'm not going to do that, but it's pretty beaten up. This has been with me everywhere. I've taken it on so many road trips since I was a teenager, when I was like 15, so it's been everywhere with me for the last 10 years. I used to work out with this book and read this book while working out. Took it to my grandparents, took it on road trips with my mom, to my dad's house. I used to bring this with me everywhere because it was like my Bible. It just held me together through some really tough shit, and so I took it with me everywhere, so I have this lifeline basically. Question 13. Any required reading from high school that you hated when you read it in high school but isn't so bad 2 years later? So the book Across 5 Aprils was something that I read in high school that I really super hated when I was reading it, and then I was visiting with my grandma and she was talking about that book and how much she loved it, so I decided to give it a second shot, and I really loved it the second time I read it when I was a little bit older, and it wasn't maybe 2 years after, it was probably more like 3 or 4 years, but I did love it after having read it a second time not being in high school. Question 14. Used or brand new books? Always used. I used to work at a used bookstore, so I am always going to advocate for used books over new books. Question 15. Have you ever read a Dan Brown book? Yes, I have read all of the Robert Langdon series, so that's Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, Inferno, and The Lost Symbol. So I've read all 4 of those books and seen all of the movies that have come out for those books as well. Question 16. Have you ever seen a movie that you liked better than the book? Definitely. I liked The Fault in Our Stars movie better than the book. It just made me way more emotional than the book did. I liked the movie Brooklyn with Saoirse Ronan so much better than the book. The book was dry and not interesting and not beautiful to me, but the movie is one of the best movies that I've ever seen. I love it so, so much, and Saoirse Ronan's one of my favorite actors of all time. And third, The Longest Ride, which is a book by Nicholas Sparks, but I like the movie better. The story is same in what it tries to do with the two timelines and 2 points of view, but in the movie they kind of flip it around and add some extra stuff in it that I liked way better than the book version, and really was just more of a romantic movie in general than the book was a romantic book. Question 17. Have you ever read a book that made you hungry, cookbooks included? No. No. Question 18. Who is a person whose book advice you will always take? Definitely Audrey. She is somebody who I found through Tumblr, and now we are close friends, and she has a channel that I don't think she's posted on for a while, but she also has a blog. I'll leave a link to her Tumblr blog down below, but she is absolutely like my bookish best friend. I adore her so much, and she has never led me astray with recommending books. We have pretty much the same taste in books too, so like I trust her 100% completely. Question 19. Is there a book outside your comfort zone or in a genre that you don't normally read that you ended up really liking? For me, this is the Cleopatra biography by Stacy Schiff. First of all, this cover is absolutely gorgeous, but also this was really interesting. It read like a fictional book, and I really liked hearing about Cleopatra's story specifically. I think there are other Cleopatra books or historical books that are written about Cleopatra's time, but for me, I don't really feel the need to read any of those because this pretty much had everything that I needed in a Cleopatra biography, so this was really amazing. This was one of the best nonfiction books I've ever read, and I normally don't pick up biography books, so this was definitely outside my comfort zone, but I just ended up really loving it and thinking that it was exquisite. So now it's tag time, and I'm going to tag Emily from Emily Kate, Kim from Literature Princess, and Serena from A Wandering Mind. So you guys are tagged, and if you want to do this video, go right ahead, and if anybody else wants to do it, link your video in the comments down below if you do end up doing it, and consider yourself tagged by me. And thanks you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Happy reading!